Chapter 2. The Path That Wasn't There. Katerina and Jonathan froze. The figure in the mist tilted its head as if studying them, then took a step forward. Its movements were unnatural, more like gliding than walking, leaving faint ripples in the dense air. Katerina felt Jonathan tighten his grip on her wrist. His fingers were ice cold, and that scared her more than the creature itself. She turned to him. He was staring straight ahead, as if unable to look away. "Jonathan, we have to..." Her voice broke off as the mist suddenly hissed. It was as if something inside it had begun to boil, swirling and churning, whispering with the voices of dozens. The figure kept moving. Katerina didn't wait any longer. She grabbed Jonathan's hand and ran. Branches lashed against their faces, the slippery ground shifting beneath their feet, but they didn't stop. The rain poured harder, turning the soil into liquid mud. "This way!" Jonathan shouted, grabbing Katerina's shoulder and veering left. They stumbled onto a narrow path. Katerina skidded to a halt. "This isn't possible." The path was smooth and dry, untouched by the rain. It stretched between the trees, vanishing into the darkness. "But it wasn't here before," Jonathan whispered. Katerina glanced behind them. The place they had just come from was now swallowed by the mist. The trees were gone, and so was the creature that had been chasing them, as if they had crossed an invisible barrier. Jonathan slowly raised his hand, his palm trembling. "I don't want to go back." Neither did Katerina. She nodded and took the first step forward. They walked in silence. The rain had stopped, though thunder still rumbled in the distance. The air felt thicker, heavier. "We have to keep going," she said firmly. "But what if it's a trap?" She stopped. "And what if it's not?" Jonathan had no answer, so they kept moving. The path twisted and turned, leading them through the trees as if guiding them on purpose. At times it narrowed so much that they had to walk single file. Katerina felt the cold creeping over her skin, as though unseen eyes were watching her. "Look!" Jonathan suddenly gasped. Up ahead, lying on the path, was something white. Katerina cautiously stepped closer. It was a piece of paper. It lay in the mud, yet it was almost completely dry. She bent down and picked it up. On the yellowed sheet, only 2 words were written: "Don't look back." Her fingers trembled. Jonathan noticed her tension. "What does it say?" Katerina slowly turned to face him, but she never got the chance to answer, because he had already looked back. And then something happened. The mist around them shuddered. The air thickened, making it almost impossible to breathe. Jonathan staggered backward and screamed. Katerina snapped her head toward his gaze, and she saw it. Behind them, there was no forest. There was nothing, only a black void creeping closer. If you enjoyed this story, leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more terrifying tales. Tell me, what would you do if you saw something staring at you in the fog? Let's discuss in the comments. iCloud.